So welcome, Heather. We give thanks for your consistent leadership. And as always at Setsi, we want to start by acknowledging our creator. We want to start by acknowledging our ancestors, acknowledging all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We want to acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Heather, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work?
Great, thank you. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on to speak about what we do here at WEOC. I certainly appreciate the opportunity. So my name is Heather Sadowy. I am the loans manager with the Women's Enterprise Organizations of Canada, also known as WEOC. That's probably what I'll keep referring to. It's much shorter and easier to remember. So I'm here based in Winnipeg on Treaty 1 territory. My background is actually in business lending and banking with the Manitoba Credit Union. But I joined WEOC in 2022 to launch this national loan program. So a bit about WEOC and that program, just to give you a sense. So WEOC's a national nonprofit, and we support the organizations that work directly with women entrepreneurs. So WEOC's goal is really to ensure that the member organizations we work with have all the tools they need to support their clients. So we do that by providing access to resources like courses, webinars, training. We also do a lot of advocacy at the government level and networking opportunities for everyone. So we don't generally work with the entrepreneurs themselves, but we're working to build the capacity of those that support them locally day to day. I came on as loan manager last year to launch this program, essentially adding another arm to WEOC's service model. And we were named as a delivery partner for the Government of Canada's Women Entrepreneurship Strategy Loan Fund. So that's what we do. I'll talk about the loans actually. I can go into just sort of what the loan program is. We do provide loans of up to $50,000 for women entrepreneurs, startup, growing, any kind of stage of business. It was launched in part because access to capital, particularly in smaller amounts, remains a bit of a barrier for many women looking to start and grow their businesses. And what makes WEOC an ideal group to deliver this fund is our network of member organizations that are our loan partners across the country. So they deliver wraparound supports to the women that receive our loans, and having someone there to help them through preparation, loan application, and beyond, they're better equipped to succeed. So we currently work with 7 provinces from BC to Ontario, and then we have Nova Scotia and Newfoundland as well. So we're looking to add the rest of the East Coast and the Northern Territories in the future. So that's me and WEOC in a nutshell.
That's absolutely incredible. I really appreciate your leadership. I know oftentimes I speak to my remarkable sister, Tiffany Callender from the FACE Coalition, and I just finished an interview earlier today with my colleague, Kayla Isabel, the CEO of Startup Canada. And when we think about women entrepreneurship and the importance of not just technical assistance and support, but amplifying the remarkable ideas of women across Canada, I think that your organization is doing a stellar job. And once again, I applaud your leadership and the supports you're providing to such an important ecosystem. So once again, we give thanks for your leadership. So my next question is, what inspires you about your current work? What has you curious right now?
Well, you just said ecosystem. So that's kind of I was going to say, the level of commitment that I see in the ecosystem on a national and international level, really. As I mentioned, I was from a Manitoba Credit Union, so I worked a lot locally. I understood a lot of what was going on in the province, but sort of being new to this, working at a national level really is seeing all these smart and dedicated people that are working towards a common goal is always inspiring. So that's, one thing that's been nice for me to learn about. And then just in this line of work too, just seeing an entrepreneur's idea come to life, knowing that we played a small part in that, and knowing that their success has a ripple effect as well. So it's not just for them and their own lives and their families, but people they hire, their customers or clients, and the communities around them. So that's always the best part.
That's incredible, indeed. So my next question is, what challenges and barriers do you face in your work? And what are some of the approaches you and your team are taking to overcome some of these barriers and challenges?
A couple of the ones that have been popping up have just been that the fact that many of our clients have not had funding before, have not had access to lenders or advisors that genuinely care or are interested in their success. So I think there's just an education piece to ensure that that clients know that they can talk to us and to their local advisors at their women's enterprise centers. So keeping us and them updated, especially in times of struggle or hardship, because we do have the ability, you know, we have some flexibility, we can assist and help them through some of those harder times. So just trying to, you know, we launched the program around this principle that they would have access to wraparound supports. So just making sure that they know that they're there and making sure that they take advantage of them. So really trying to get the word out about that piece, I think, is one thing we've been struggling to do, so getting the word out more. And then I think one thing that I think everyone in this space has probably had to deal with, but when you're trying to work with underserved groups, you only really know if you're doing your job if clients choose to self-identify, right? So in your application process, if you're working with you know, racialized person, LGBTQ community, folks with disabilities, all that sort of stuff, you know, to make sure we're reaching the right people, and we want to demonstrate that to our funders. It's really our responsibility to ensure that people feel comfortable self-identifying. So I find, you know, that's one of my struggles. I'm always looking to make sure, are we using the right language? Have we made our process smooth enough that people are willing to ask a few more questions at the end of the application process? And really explained why we're collecting the information. So that, because that all, it's, you know, it seems like a small thing, but it really does sort of lead to bigger picture opportunities. So
I couldn't agree more. It's such a challenge. Well, one, for the supply side of capital to find ways and means to harmonize with the demand side of capital. And then two, in terms of self-attestation or self-identification, it is tricky. But the fact remains that collecting high quality disaggregated demographic data helps inform best practices, helps build community of practice, and more importantly, helps to tell a narrative or paint a picture to your funders, to your stakeholders, to your boards. So definitely it is precarious, but I think it's really important because at Setsi, data is a love language for us. And collecting information is so important to be able to provide the best products and services to your clients. So once again, I applaud you for that work, and definitely I can see why that's a barrier. But hopefully you're making strides to overcome some of those challenges. So my next question is, do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work?
Yeah, I mean, my number one priority is increasing our pool of clients. So more money in the hands of more entrepreneurs. That's what we're trying to do every day. So we really want to grow this, the recipients of this loan fund. And part of that is also to expand into the rest of Canada, as I mentioned. So growing additional loan partners and delivery groups to partner with us in the areas that we're not in, including rural areas as well, right? There's not a lot of places without a lot of access to other supports. And just at an organizational level, I think raising awareness of WEOC and what we do and growing our membership is always something we're looking to do, so that we can make sure that we can increase our programming, deliver programming that's helpful and insightful for our membership. So those are the kind of two main areas right now.
Incredible. Thank you. So my next question is, how do you feel about the future of women-led enterprises in Canada?
And in general, I think it can only get better. So knowing the level of commitment by our federal government and the service delivery organizations involved, it's a very multi-pronged strategy that the feds have put in place. So I think we'll start to see numbers go up. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Women Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub, but that's, WEKH. They're a great source of information and data. So they recently put out their annual report, I think, that said, I want to get this right here in my notes, but it was the number of small or medium-sized enterprise owned by women is about 18%, and it's up from 15% about 5 years ago. So that's not a huge increase, but women-owned businesses were severely impacted by COVID. Just, being more likely to be part of the service sector or retail restaurant that was impacted. So kind of despite that, having still grown a few percentage points, I think is a good sign. And so fairly optimistic with the efforts of the strategy and access to funds like ours. We'll see those numbers climb a bit faster, hopefully.
Indeed. I sat on the social innovation sounding board with Wendy Cookier from WEC. She was one of the founders of WEC. So I'm very familiar with the program. And thank you for sharing that data. because knowledge
Yeah.
organization translation is so important, especially research that is very specific and concise, that once again
Yeah.
frames a narrative of optimism, but also frames a narrative of the actual realities of what's happening on the ground. And we need that
Yeah.
type of thought leadership and practitionership. So once again, I appreciate you. So my next question is, what is your ultimate goal? And what does success look like to you and your colleagues?
Success, I think, would be just seeing the numbers of women-owned businesses grow, but specifically for those numbers or those businesses to be run and owned and representing the diversity of the communities we live in, right? So seeing our presence grow as well in the north and in the other rural areas, as I mentioned. I think just personally for me on like a specific level, I think just seeing a business that we helped fund, that we helped start, that's thriving in 5 years' time, that would be, to me, a big sign of success. And so tracking again and keeping tabs on all of our clients through the coming years, and excited to see what we'll find out. So
incredible. So my last question, do you have any calls to action or closing thoughts for our listeners and our viewers?
Well, I'll draw attention to our website and to our loan program. So we are WEOC, WEOC.ca. Go on there and you can check out our loan program. You can learn all about the eligibility and the what's needed to apply and how you can find a local partner in your region that you can work with. So everything's on there. We also have on our website a report. I was just thinking for viewers that might be wondering about exactly what barriers that women are facing. We did put out a report last year. It's called Bootstrap or Borrow, and it was a survey that we did that focused on women's experiences and expectations when looking for business financing. So it includes some calls to action for lenders at traditional financial institutions and things that they can do to improve the experience as well. So that's on our website under our resources page. So the Bootstrap or Borrow report is in there. A lot of great data in there for sure.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for your remarkable leadership, your candor, transparency, and clear commitment to community economic development. And we'll close this interview the way we began, by acknowledging our creator, by acknowledging our ancestors, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Heather, for all that you do for so many. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, Victor.